everyone. This is the Easy Allies podcast. I'm your moderator, Kyle Bossman, and joining us this week, Bradley Ellis.
Hi.
Michael Damiani.
Let's time travel.
Daniel Bloodworth.
I'm Brandon Jones.
Who is sitting in the Brandon Jones?
Yeah. I mean, just to make the technicalities of that clear, I might have to clear up what your sign off or whatever is when we do points. But I'm going to be Jones in like all respects, except for like podcast halftime.
Oh, you're saying you want in on this team that's winning?
I'm going to be giving points for Jones if I give points.
Yes. I won't have it. No.
Well, of course you're winning. It's like playing at your home stadium every single game.
Yeah, like Blood.
This is some dirty
Right now
tricks.
we're 4 up. You know what I mean? Even if we lose all 4 weeks that Jones is gone, or maybe more. You know what I mean?
We should see how you do on the road.
I feel okay. Yeah, I feel okay, Blood. I think you should go Gorgeous Gorilla.
No.
And making this all happen, Ian Hink.
I'm on Brandon's team too.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
Are you? You know what? We don't need any.
We don't need
I'm on
super.
every
We
team.
don't need like mega star teams.
I'm
It's
on
funny
every
because
here.
I talked about this weeks ago, but then I realized as soon as we started, I'm like, oh, we haven't actually talked about this today.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll feel how we're vibing at the end of the podcast. Before then, we need to do the Desire Index.
Everyone's favorite segment.
Yeah. This is submitted from Taubel. Luigi's Mansion 3.
Ooh, that's gone up to number 1.
Because it's difficult to take the index seriously as an easy A list when there are so few Nintendo exclusives.
Is that it?
Where are we at?
I don't
So-
like the tone.
Oh, I love the tone. I love when people are sassy about the index. It's good. You gotta have a better shot. I gotta be honest.
This is not serious. Luigi's Mansion's going to last.
Okay, so here's the top 5 right now.
Okay.
Cyberpunk 2077 is number 1 still.
Okay.
Final Fantasy VII Remake slotted in at number 2.
What?
I tried.
Last of Us
What is
Part
this?
2, number 3.
Jones.
Doom Eternal, number 4. And Marvel's Avengers, number 5. How high can we get Luigi's Mansion 3?
Dude, at least above Madden.
Well, it's
at
Madden's
least
not even
above
listed at this
Madden.
point. We're talking top
I
5.
did top 5 and we have 6.
Yeah.
I'd say, kick Marvel down, put it at 5.
Ooh.
Kicking that
Let's kick
Marvel
Marvel
down.
Okay. We have a start here.
Yeah.
Now, Blood, I want you to think about Doom Eternal and how much fun you're going to have playing that game.
Yeah.
And now think about Luigi's Mansion 3. Think about Gooigi. Think about solving puzzles. Think about the joy that you have when Luigi is frightened.
I played this game. Yeah,
Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on Gooigi, dude. I'm not buying it
Tell
yet.
me why you're not sold on Gooigi.
I mean, he's like a dumb slime Luigi. It's like, is that enough of a gimmick to make this a big deal? I haven't played it.
It's not.
Oh.
It's
I'm just
not.
saying.
They put him on the box,
You
man.
know Luigi's going to evolve.
They're going hard.
No,
If
they're going to
That's
be
a co-op
Luigi.
thing too, right?
Yeah.
No. Co-op thing is just other different colored Luigi.
Oh, you can't co-op with
In
Luigi?
that mode. It's not
Yeah.
even in the single player. It's in that
Right.
multiplayer mode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a whole other mode.
If
The
Gooigi
tower,
heel
remember?
turns is just some Koopa kid in disguise, I'm gonna be so mad.
I think you control Gooigi.
I know.
So I think
totally
it's
do.
almost
I know.
like your essence is inside
Yeah,
of
like
Luigi.
Yeah,
Luigi
your-
kind of
your
drifts
soul
off to sleep.
transfers,
You're like
yeah.
sleeping, and
I'm just
Luigi
saying,
comes to life.
anything is possible.
Sure.
Luigi's gonna get cool abilities as you
Like
progress.
what? Like walking
So
on
right now, it
spikes?
just, all it can do is walk through spikes right now. But imagine it like it's gonna be able to like shoot itself up and like hit the ceiling and then walk on the ceiling now.
So he gets
You-
flubber power.
I was
Yes.
thinking more of like get sucked through like a vacuum tube or something like that, or
We have a vacuum.
that I think you can already
no,
do
but
that.
I mean like
Luigi can already
like
do
what
that.
you get at the bank, like that kind of too.
Yeah.
But Luigi gets like T1000 type properties, or it can start forming like shapes with itself.
So all I'm hearing are more reasons why this game is better.
Listen,
than,
all I'm thinking of is Resident Evil 0 in my brain about controlling Luigi and Gooigi, and that's not a good thing. Inventory management, Kyle. I'm not into it.
Okay.
I don't think it's inventory management.
Enough blood. I'm just kidding.
Enough.
Enough. I love Luigi's Mansion,
Yeah.
but I don't think Gooigi is a big enough sell to put him on the box.
Okay. Well, how about the hotel environment?
The hotel is really cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a great thing. I think that's awesome.
How about the music?
It's going to be great.
Probably greater than anything.
I'm
in
more
Doom
excited
Eternal,
to
right?
see Luigi scared because it's so good.
Yeah.
Mario. Like, that's the best part of the game.
But I think Doom Eternal has an undeniable quality. That's
Correct.
It's just, I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate. It's really hard for it to surpass that, right?
Shotgun with a grappling hook.
Yeah.
What else do you need?
Yeah. It's tough. So I'm afraid we're slotting in Luigi's Mansion. Hey, it got in top 5.
Yes. Hell
And
yeah.
Marvel's Avengers with something to improve is down to number 6.
For now.
We'll see a trailer at Comic-Con probably, right?
Yep.
Oh, for Avengers,
Well,
yeah.
they said it's going to be the public reveal of gameplay, so it might just be what was shown behind closed doors at E3.
That sounds like that. That sounds like it'll be.
Right?
That's so foolish.
Oh
to
no,
me.
it will not. We will not see it.
Right.
We will not see it.
There's,
It's only
there's
people
no way
for
it
Hall
doesn't
H.
leak, though. So we're gonna see a bad version of that instead of
Yeah.
them just streaming it.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no way like a Comic-Con hall doesn't leak it. You know, they're just too huge.
But it's a perfect place for them to show it because there's gonna be all the super fans are gonna be plotting and cheering for it,
Yeah, you're right.
and that's the reaction they want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's time for corrections. Begin corrections music, please. ZeniMax Online Studios, they make Elder Scrolls Online. So Bethesda Game Studios has even less to brag about. Trails of Cold Steel's 3 script is apparently 2.4 times larger than The Witcher 3
What?
and larger than all the Harry Potter books combined. And
Is
that's
that-
why it takes so long to translate.
Holy crap.
Is that
Yeah.
necessary?
That's my question. I don't think so, dude. There's such a thing as like too much writing.
Man, that's a lot of writing.
Yeah, I'd like to know how much of that someone would say you could cut. It would still be an amazing story.
I could lop off 90% of that dialogue.
That feels like a lot
I'm
of. That feels like a
confident.
lot of
Yes.
filler. A lot of
It has to be.
exposition.
Witcher 3 too, dude. Witcher 3 is longer than Harry Potter?
I don't know.
Well,
Wait, did they
there's-
say that? No.
There's some sort
said
of math
Trails-
there, right? So Witcher 3, it's 2.4 times larger than Witcher 3, but it's also larger than all the Harry Potter books combined.
Yo, when I'm stacking those Harry Potter books up,
Yeah.
make a visual of that. Put all those 7 books on top of each other, and then that's not even
Apparently
as much.
they tweeted out the script, and it's just ridiculous.
No, that's
Yeah.
just no. We
Can
got
you-
Crazy.
Can you imagine translating all the Harry Potter books?
No.
Someone has to do it because
Yeah.
they come out in multiple languages.
You know what? Very well. You do it one at a time, right? You don't have to do it over the span of 2 years to
Oh,
release
yeah,
a
the-
game where people are like, "What's taking so long with your RPG?" You know?
The obvious answer is to break up these games into like 6 different parts now.
Yes, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's already 4 parts, so.
No, you gotta make it more parts.
More parts.
more parts.
6 parts.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
because it has a number at the end does not mean that it can't be parts.
Yeah.
Is what we've learned.
You obviously could have Legends of Cold Steel or Trails of Cold Steel 3, part 1, and then part 2,
Yeah.
part 3, part 4.
Yes.
So yeah, like easy numbering. So you make sure the first part's Roman numeral, then you use like alphanumeric for the second number. There you go.
All the successful RPGs are doing this.
Of course.
Yes. Teppen is not just a made-up word. It means top in Japanese.
Top?
Wait, what did you say?
Teppen.
Like Teppen?
Yeah.
Teppen.
Yeah.
What? What do you mean?
It's the name.
yeah.
It's part of the name of the anime, Gurren Lagann.
What?
Tengen Teppen Gurren Lagann.
Oh. And so top is part of that?
Top, pierce the heavens.
Wait, so the spinning top, like the ones that they have around their necks?
Yeah.
So when I saw top, I thought that means like, hey man, that's tops, baby. Like you're on top.
Maybe.
But no, I bet
thought.
Teppen,
I always thought the other. I might be actually
because
wrong.
they have the drills. They have the drills on.
Yeah,
the
I might be
necklaces.
wrong.
Whatever.
Unless it's a play on words or something.
Teppen
I have
is
no
the name.
idea.
This person who made the correction down, make it clear what kind of top we're talking about.
Interesting. Yeah.
Give me a lot of corrections next week.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so Ian's got some data for Ian. Well, actually, you did the research. I feel like you should get credit for this
Oh
one.
wow.
Okay. So The Witcher 3 is 450,000 words long, apparently, and all of the Harry Potter books combined are 1,084,000 words.
So now multiply 450,000 by 2.4. And then we will have how many words there are
Like,
in Trails of Cold
Just
Steel
under
3.
1,200.
That's crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
Like just around 1,200.
Would it still be just-
1.2 million. Right?
It's 1,080,000. So they lied.
Oh.
They were
Oh,
they're
well,
4,000
it's
words
so close
shorter
that-
than Harry Potter.
No, you were going to need those 4,000 words unless you don't get to say you're larger than all the Harry Potter books. Not on my
They
watch.
could probably round it down. It's probably
They
like
probably
2.4.
they probably
4
rounded it.
Yeah,
something.
kayfabe.
You said it's 2.4 times.
Yep, 2.4 times.
Interesting.
So this is our most popular correction of all time. We get this one pretty frequently, but this is a new twist. So Private Division is a subsidiary of Take-Two, not 2K Games. Because, of course, Take-Two is the parent company of 2K Games and is also the parent company of Private Division, which is not a subsidiary of 2K.
Subsidiary.
Subsidiary.
Yeah.
Subsidiary.
Substance.
Subsidiary.
There's another I in there, yeah.
Subsidiary loans. Subsidiary of the business. Gotcha.
Sure.
Okay. And corrections music, please, Jones. I hope you enjoyed all that. before we get into today's podcast, in which we're going to stare into the future with our futuristic binoculars, we get to talk about the Nintendo Switch Lite.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And I mean, so this is the
Everyone's
thing.
been asking for this.
Yeah.
We talked about it
you
yet.
guys, we haven't talked about it yet? Oh,
We have
shoot.
not. No, I mean, and it's
I remember people talking like I was crazy when I first suggested it.
What do you mean?
When there were first rumors about.
What are you talking about?
we've been talking about this thing forever.
That's what I mean. Like way back forever. I was like, I was like, it would probably be like a smaller, trimmed down version rather than a pro, quote unquote.
Here's what I'm most surprised by.
Wow.
No dock, no HDMI out. This thing is a pure handheld. The
That
Nintendo
I'm not
Switch.
at all
was one of the
surprised
original
by
rumors.
no dock, but I'm a little surprised that there's no way to out.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
no Joy-Cons, right?
No
It's just
Joy-Cons.
It's all one form
It's all
That
factor.
makes sense.
So it's just like
This
the
is
2DS
all the
vibe
original rumor.
going on with it.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
yes.
it's a handheld.
It's a
a
handheld.
dedicated handheld.
It's got a D-pad instead of 4 stupid buttons.
That's an improvement.
It is $200, whereas the Switch proper is $300.
It's a price point. I was like, better be that much or less.
200, it feels good. It does
Yeah,
feel
that's
good.
it's $199.99.
As well as no Joy-Cons. With that, there's no HD rumble,
rumble.
nor SD rumble.
What?
No
and
rumble.
no IR camera. Can you imagine playing any Switch games without the IR camera?
No. I need
man.
that.
They've implemented it so well. It's totally a justified expense when we're selling
But it's okay,
Joy-Cons for
Kyle.
$80.
But
What?
it's okay.
What?
So it's gyro. So it's gyro.
Yeah, it does still have gyro.
okay, we're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. You still got that, baby.
Worried.
What's real? I guess we start with the colors. The colors are yellow,
Yep.
gray,
Yep.
and turquoise.
Yeah. And one more.
The Nintendo Switch Lite
Oh.
Zacian and Zamazenta edition,
Yeah.
which is actually the good one.
The good one. Yeah, they're smart.
Because the analog stick and D-pad is blue on the left side and buttons and analog stick are red on the right side. It actually looks really nice.
Good.
Because when you think of the color yellow, it's probably pretty gross. It's not a nice color.
Yeah, it's like cheese. A block of cheese.
And then imagine that the analog sticks and buttons are white. This thing looks atrocious. Same with turquoise. Honestly, same with gray.
What color are the buttons in turquoise?
They're all white. Every single version.
I like
has
the turquoise
white
one,
buttons
but
and white
I don't know
analog
about
sticks.
white buttons.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, white analog sticks is not a good. They're gonna get grubby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Analog, yeah. Especially like if they're going for like kids with this, dude. It's gonna be like spaghetti sauce all over that.
Guaranteed.
Yeah.
I can't keep the chicken grease off my controllers, but at least they're hiding because my controllers are dark.
I think it's probably the most differentiated from the base Switch unit.
Oh,
Yeah.
true.
It's like,
Yep.
I mean, you can get different colored Joy-Cons, but just not black, which is interesting. You can go with that. But yeah, they're not the most appealing colors. That Pokemon one's like, oh, that would probably be the best one. Oh, okay, it's part of a special thing.
No,
sure.
it's $200, dude.
No, you can get it,
Same
but it's like
price.
it's gonna sell out. It'll be
Oh,
the first
it
one
will.
that sells out, and
Yes.
it won't be reprinted.
And then
obviously,
they're going to keep printing
Yeah.
yellows.
Yeah, then you're gonna be like the only one you're gonna be able to go in a store and
Yeah.
buy when it comes out. It's gonna be, oh, do you got any more Pokemon? Sorry, we sold out of those like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Would you like a yellow, banana yellow, whatever it is? They'll be like, oh, no, thank you.
It reminds me of like Game Boy Color, and they're like, your choices are purple and see-through purple. It's like, why? Why?
I remember that. I had the purple.
I was
one.
like,
Yeah.
nope. Where are the other colors? Oh, they're not out yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then they eventually looked super
Yeah,
cool,
Game Boy
too.
Advance had like white in it.
It did.
and-
They had a white
Oh,
and
yeah.
gray. And
I had the white
which I
one.
had.
And the purple.
You know
purple.
they're gonna roll out so many
Reminds me of
colors.
GameCube, which is good vibes.
You know
So many
what?
colors over time. To
Yeah,
refresh that.
Dude, just to me, like, so just imagine it's smaller as well. If you haven't seen it, you know like your imagination is accurate. Whatever, if you have not seen it yet, you're imagining
Yeah.
the right.
Yeah, you
thing.
got it.
It just does look unappealing in a strange way to me. It looks worse than a PSP. It looks worse than a Vita.
Really?
Yeah, design wise.
I mean, besides the color, like everything else about it seemed good to me.
it looks
I
worse
thought-
than a Game Boy Advance.
I don't think it. No, I don't think it
think
did.
so.
I think it looked pretty good, especially like looking at the back where the two side handles are now. They're like grooved for it.
Yeah.
Like really, I was like, oh, that looks nice. Back like simple backside look. Front side looks just pretty much like the Switch. Nice D-pad and everything like that. My biggest problem with this stupid thing, the stupid thing is Nintendo's system transfer crap. I can't.
Tell me about this.
Like, let's say I wanted to have a portable one. I already got the Switch, I can take it on the go, but it's
Yeah.
just too big. I want the smaller one. And like, let's say this is small enough to fit in your pocket or something. Like, oh, here we go.
I have big
this
pockets.
is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
But wait, I want to play my downloaded games on both my OG Switch and this one. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You gotta pick one or the other, and it's like, really,
Wait,
Nintendo?
I saw a quote where they're talking like there's something
You
that
system
they're,
transfer.
They're thinking about a solution.
They're thinking
Yeah,
about it. They haven't
yes.
implemented it
I
yet.
don't know. It didn't read to me like thinking about it. It's like we've got more to say, but we're not saying it right now.
Yeah, but one day, like, yeah,
This thing comes out September 20th,
We're
Blood.
thinking about
Yeah, but that
online
kind of
services
feature-
for Switch.
Yeah.
More to talk about 2
We've heard
years
that
later.
before. We heard that one before.
Sure, but
I'll
that kind of
believe it when I
feature
see-
like
I'll
they
believe
get
it
an
when I see
announcement
it.
and it's available at like that time. You know, it's,
Yeah, it's weird, but like
I don't give Nintendo the benefit of the doubt.
I
when
would
they
have to do an
this.
online check or something. I don't know how you can just play your entire
Well,
library on two
well,
different
like
consoles.
PlayStation handles it. You can authorize multiple systems up to 4.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
I was like, that better be the solution where you can authorize 2 devices, like
Yeah.
Switch, regular Switch, and your Switch Lite.
And be so easy, yeah, because you
Yeah.
select profiles and everything. Yeah, that would be really simple.
Should really just do that. And if they don't at least offer that, if it's some weird convoluted system, their solution, I'm just gonna be like, all right, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But because they won't outline that yet, I have no interest in that. I have no interest in that unless they have specifics, and those specifics don't seem convoluted.
Yeah.
Do
Go
you
ahead.
foresee that many Switch owners buying the Switch Lite though?
I do.
I see a lot of people buying it for for secondary for like children. Hi, I have my Switch. Now I want my kids to have one, and we don't have to
Yeah.
share one. A cheaper model, smaller, looks it's one form factor, so you're not gonna lose the Joy-Cons anymore. It like screams perfect for kids. But I do
good
see
point.
there might be some people like Switch is a hybrid system, but is a little too big to take around, or whatever reason. A smaller one that would be more desirable for me, but I still want to play on my TV. So I'm going to leave my Switch OG at home, docked, never taking it out again. And this is the other one I'm going to bring on the go. And if that solution is very simple, I could see a decent amount of people saying, yeah, I'll do that. You know, also
I
they just
think
want to own
to
everything.
me that just seems like a tiny part of the market. Like I really do think it's more for getting more people in the house to have them rather than the same person.
The ecosystem.
Because it's barely smaller.
It is. It is not much smaller. It's kind of shocking.
Yeah, that's the one surprising thing is it's not that drastically smaller. I thought it'd be even smaller than
But
that.
I think
Yeah.
there's a level of with the way the games are designed and like the screen size can't get that much smaller without text becoming kind of unreadable.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about that. Some games have really small text on that, but no, Bloodworth, you are definitely right though. Nintendo explicitly said at a past investor Q&A that the next phase of Switch sales would move to achieving more than 1 unit per household. We want to achieve multiple units per household, and we have a solution. We have solutions we're thinking about, and
this
this
is-
obviously
this
is
is
one
your
of those
solution.
solutions for that. Yeah.
Another really funny thing is that compatibility works that some games do not have a portable mode. And so the website recommends that you just check the back of the box and you'll see a little icon that says port. 99.8% of all Switch games have a portable mode. So now they have this dumb little thing that we're like concerned parents have to look for this icon in the back of the box just because like they can't play 1-2 Switch. There's so few games that really can't be in portable mode. It just seems so unnecessary. But to me, it also speaks to kind of like abandoning your console's premise so quickly within 2 years is a little strange to me. It's called the Nintendo Switch. It's about the clicking. It's about switching from handheld to console.
I mean, they ditched 3D.
Yeah, it's Brad.
I mean, neither
super
one of these
true,
things
dude.
were ditched. They just have
Yeah.
the option for people that want
They
something
ditched
cheaper.
They
it.
ditched it.
I
man.
don't see this as a ditch, like them ditching it, Kyle, because we both argue, Bill and I, that this is their next phase of getting people to buy more of these, and this is meant to appeal to a different demographic, whether it's kids who were just buying you a second model, so like they still have the option, like you really want to play on the TV, here, play with the parents one every now and then, but when we're playing, when the kids want to play, here, take this and go play whatever, you go do this. I also think
You
it's
won't
like
lose the Joy-Cons.
yeah, I also think it's very, very targeted at countries that favor more strictly mobile devices. Like, so I think Switch's size was maybe a little too big even for some of those markets. Like, I think it being portable was good, but it needed to be smaller. But going dedicated portable, like market like Japan, they love dedicated portable devices there. Switch doing very well because of that but this I think will do even better there. I think you'll see this selling out there as well. But in terms of not abandoning the concept, wait till this the rumored yet to be announced Switch Pro or whatever happens, if they don't have that hybrid going for it again, if that ditches it, like if that goes console only, like there is no handheld mode for that,
Right.
then you can start freaking out. But
I don't think it'll happen.
Yeah,
I don't think that they would go the other way hard.
I don't think they'll do that with their flagship version.
Yeah, I guess that's. So the Switch is a massive success. It's doing crazy well, outselling everything this year. I guess against PS5 and Xbox One X or One, but it needs to sell the same as a console and handheld at the same time. Its software sales need to be the same as 3DS and Wii U at the same time. It needs to compensate for the fact that they went hard on one device. And so far I think they're meeting that actually. But yeah, I guess it's just a bummer to me to see like, and actually it's a handheld still. It seems like that is much more the focus of the Switch this entire time.
You mean like Switch in general since
its
its
launch? For them to say like, hey, we're making a 3DS that doesn't have 3D anymore. It's like, okay, so the handheld is the focus. The 3D was never really the focus of this device, and you're okay with that.
I mean,
but to like make the Switch without the
just wait, Kyle, till the Switch Pro comes out and it's literally covered with IR sensors. It's gonna blow your mind.
All right,
Kyle, I have to wonder if it would have been interesting if they. I don't doubt that this device could have had the capability to do video out in some capacity, but they're making a conscious choice not to include that in the base package.
Yes.
The fact that they haven't talked about any kind of like add-on device that could potentially achieve this, like it's a dock, a separate dock. It seems like that none of that's being we're not going with that option this time. I can see that like wow, why would they have like how hard would it have been to like just say, hey, $199 for this nice handheld device. We want you to get in. It's lowering the barrier to getting involved with the Switch.
Yeah.
By the way, if you really like it and you really want to play it on your TV screen, here's like a $30, $40 dongle, whatever, that lets you do HDMI out that attaches to the bottom or something. Like, I think they want to get the price lower, and maybe they could have introduced that. Like that would have maybe like said like, hey, we still care about both as well.
Yeah.
But I'm worried that would have scared off people. They don't want to complicate. They don't want to complicate things.
I would say the dongle's an awful idea.
And
right?
I think
because of that.
Yeah. So I think this strictly, Kyle, is which was going to sell the most, like a beefy console only version of Switch or a handheld only focused version of Switch.
One.
The handheld. Yeah. Nintendo handhelds historically have sold on average much better than their consoles. So. That's one of the things Nintendo's known for. They never screw up a handheld. They're dominant in the handheld space. They're leaning on that again here, and I think you might actually see them maybe. Will they talk about it as the Switch family going forward, or will they categorize here's Switch and then here's Switch Lite sales? Like, will they actually separate them by any chance, or will they bundle them?
Typically, they do. I think. No, I don't think they will.
But like 3DS, they even said 3DS.
Yeah.
They didn't say we're not killing the 3DS yet. By the way, we're just support's still going to the 3DS. Just no new games for it. It's like they're not giving up on 3DS just yet, even with this. So
patching it, baby.
You just said something. I hadn't considered that the Pro would be docked only. Do you think?
No.
No, I don't think it is.
Good. I was like, they would never do that.
No, that would support Kyle's concern.
I think the Pro would be, this does everything and then some. Yeah, for sure.
I do have a crazy question, though.
Sure.
This is a totally insane question. Let's say there was strictly a docked Switch and a portable Switch. We just had our best-selling Mario game of all time, our best-selling Zelda game of all time, right? Mm-hmm. Which version would have sold better if there was only a docked Switch and there was only a portable Switch?
Which version of what would have sold better?
Those two games. Which version of Mario would have sold better? Which version of Zelda would have sold better?
If Switch launched with two unique versions like that?
Yeah.
I don't think anything would have changed.
No.
If they're separately sold, like handheld Zelda, console Zelda, same game though.
Yes.
Which version of Zelda would have sold better?
Yeah.
Why would they make two different versions?
He's just saying.
Because I almost feel like for Zelda, there were more people playing it on their TVs than their handheld. That's my assumption.
I think Zelda's a game where people are ready to play that wherever they are. That's why I want to ask. That's the thing. I think that's why the original concept of the Switch was really great, because there are these games that ordinarily we wouldn't picture ourselves playing mobile, and maybe we don't want to play them mobile all the time, but in a game like Zelda, like, I'll do the less important stuff while I'm on the go, and then save the story sequences or whatever for when I get home.
And I mean, Nintendo's tracking it. They know how long people are playing these games,
Yeah.
so they have data that I do not see. And so I think maybe it's an insane assumption to say people are playing it more on their TV than portables. But yeah,
I mean, I've heard of people that, on both sides of that. People that never dock and people that are always docked.
Yeah.
So.
I have a friend who's never taken the dock out of the box.
Wow.
cool.
Okay. Fair enough. It's time to tell me about the future panel. This was a segment we started last year where I ask you a bunch of questions about 1 year later. What will be happening in June of 2020 is what we're going to be talking about today. It's an interesting time. E3 has ended. The fall is about to begin. And it's a nice little time capsule. It was actually really fun to listen to last year's episode. We're going to go through those things. After these, I don't want to inhibit anybody because you sound really dumb a year from now.
I wasn't on it.
Yeah, but like you, Brad, you're gonna sound dumb.
Nah.
Yeah, okay.
So are we going through last year's now?
No. We're going through last year's second, so
Oh,
that
okay,
nobody
okay.
has to feel like, oh man, I was dumb. I'm stupid. We'll get there. First question for everybody is, of course, about our next gen anticipation, where we're gonna be looking forward to the PlayStation 5 to Xbox Scarlet, June of 2020. How you can compare our hype levels there to the June before PS4, before Xbox One.
Like, are you asking if we'll be more excited than we were about PS4?
Or what kind of excitement, or how it's going
I
to feel.
think, so for the case for PS5, I think they'll have a stronger launch title. Because what I remember from PS4 was like Killzone was like one of their big first party ones.
Yeah.
And
Drive Club was supposed to be.
Yeah, Drive Club and Second Son was like in the launch window. I think we could see Horizon 2 being a launch game. I think they've been working on that for a while. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some crossover, like Ghost of Tsushima being on both, maybe.
Yeah.
I think personally I would be more excited than I was for PS4.
Really?
Yeah.
Because here's what I think, Brad. I think that, you know what debunks this entirely is The Last of Us. Both consoles slowed down at the end. We were so ready for new consoles. I think that PS4 is about to have a fantastic year with Death Stranding, with Final Fantasy VII. And so it doesn't feel like, oh man, this PS4 is really slowing down, you know? And so I wonder if it's going to be like, yeah, baby, bring on PS5, or it's just like, hey, we're pretty good right now.
Here's what I've been. I love the games I've had on PS4. I've been ready for PS5 for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I
like
hear
I'm
you.
ready to go. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
I wonder if they're trying something different where they want to carry the momentum of everyone's like feeling good about PlayStation 4. We've had some pretty good games, and hey, we're writing that right into PlayStation 5, treating it like this is the next step up. You know, we don't want to leave you, oh, we've been in this lull period. Whoa, where's like that has traditionally worked where it gets people more excited for it. But what if you did it a different way, where you have all this great software and you just be like, hey, it's also backwards compatible, so these games are like, you can buy this game right now and like in a month later you can play it on your PS5. It's gonna look even better. And like, I don't know.
I think the existence of Halo Infinite already makes this launch more exciting than the last launch. Because here's another thing.
Oh yeah, for Xbox. Oh yeah.
Last launch, I think even at this point, before that generation, there was a good one and a bad one. The Xbox One was clearly a bad one. It was clearly taking heat. It was clearly mocked openly. And I wonder if at this point next year there will be a good one and a bad one.
I think there always will be a good one, bad one. I don't know if it'll be as bad as like Xbox One is, because like PS3 was bad when it got announced.
True, there was a good one and bad one there too.
But I think it won't be as drastic this time. I hope.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know who said it. There was some headline I saw recently that there's already some out there trying to paint the quote said. Someone said a quote at PlayStation about like it's gonna appeal to like hardcore gamers or something. And there's an article that came out that said
a misattributed.
Okay.
Yeah, thing.
And I saw some weird headline that said, "Oh, that strategy is gonna be the death. Like PS5 will be dead on arrival." And I was like, really? Are we going to go with this angle now? Like, I wonder if, something like a misstep will be capitalized on by people just want to see stuff fail and say, oh, the PlayStation 5, they're too arrogant. They had all this success. Every time Sony gets successful, they come back and they're arrogant. Look what happened with PS3. They're going to like misread it. I don't think I'm getting that vibe. I feel like the concern might actually be that the systems are too close to parity.
Yeah.
That they're playing it safe. in terms of like they want backwards compatibility. They want it to be easier for developers to get their games running on. They want them to all look good. They're not going with very unique, architectures. Like they're both, very widely used architectures. They're both saying like a lot of the same buzzwords, like faster loading times, solid state drives, like all that stuff. And I think it's going to be the software lineup. And as you said, right now we definitely know Halo Infinite, launch title, Xbox Scarlet. It's like, oh, okay, that gets people to get excited. I think Sony needs to answer, what's your launch title you're going to have with that? Is it like you said, Horizon 2? People are like, oh, okay, here we go.
Is Horizon 2 next gen only?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
I think it'd be a smart
That's
move.
an interesting question. I do wonder how many of these games will continue supporting PlayStation 4.
They need a reason for you to buy their system.
Yeah.
And if it's just like, hey, you could play this game also on your other system, I think that'd be a mistake from a first-party game.
Yeah, I think Halo Infinite is a little less exciting because I can play it on an Xbox One, a chunky old one from 5 years ago.
I think so too.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder if they'd ever. I don't think they would do this. So I was thinking random thoughts about if they ever would make a PS5 era window game, be only playable on PS4 Pro, but not base PS4.
I think never.
I think that would be a no question.
I think they promised
But I'm also like thinking like both. I do think there will be games that are released post PS5 that are for PS4 Pro and PS5. They'll just have like scaling, like this one will run at like 1080 60 maybe, like at points on PS4, whereas on PS5 it can run up to like 4K 60 or 1440p 60 frames at the very minimum. It's like, okay, that's a decent, and maybe it has like ray tracing or better HDR or something like that.
It's interesting. I mean, so with PS3 to PS4, that conversion, it didn't happen a lot. Maybe because PS3 was hard to develop for.
Oh yeah, that was 100%
look,
the reason.
man, I can't make these two games at the same time. But also, Xbox One had a lot of exclusives. It had a ton, and they all just kind of
Rise.
Yeah, just kind of flooped out.
Sunset Overdrive was sick though.
Yeah. Right. Also not on 360. And so while like we had a lot of the Call of Duties and Battlefields doing cross-gen, Destiny was doing cross-gen, both console manufacturers like hit hard on first party with exclusives, and I don't think Xbox is going to this time.
So yeah, it's a little interesting when you say like when we point out that Halo is one of the ones that's doing the cross-platform release, because when you brought up this point, Brad, I felt like obviously the big third-party releases, like your Call of Duties, or like Battlefields, whatever is coming out that holiday, will probably be cross-platform, so they can get as many sales as possible. But you would think the first-party games would be exclusive to the newest platform. So Halo Infinite, I think maybe it's just been in development for so long, and it's already been talked about that maybe for some reason they decide it will do the best if we leave it on like both platforms. But I would expect going forward, any new big announcements it would be in their best interest to make them Xbox Scarlet exclusives to get people excited for that. All the stuff those studios they bought are working on. It's like those should probably be Xbox Scarlet exclusives.
What sucks though is that is against their messaging.
Yeah,
their messaging is like, hey, we want everything
play
on everything.
Anywhere.
Yeah,
they're treating that's their message, and they're treating it almost like PC gaming. As long as the device meets the specs, which the Xbox One does for a lot of stuff, you can still run it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a better, to me, from as a consumer, I like that practice more.
Sure,
that's a fairer practice for consumers because it allows you to play it on. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do that huge upgrade. I already have this thing that I'm invested in, the system for several years, and I can still play games on it for a few more years. You're treating me well. You're treating me like a loyal consumer. You're not pushing me that hard, and I wonder if that will pay off. Like a long, like that's a long game, I guess. Like they're playing that versus, let's say, Sony's approach is all these new games PS5 only, baby.
Yeah.
And they might have that big explosion at the beginning, but I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see why they're doubling, like why Microsoft's doubling down on this, because it's great consumer friendly practice, but it doesn't make the most business sense for them. And they're between the two, they're the one who need to kind of like step it up in terms of like attracting consumers, and like if they want to like surpass PlayStation, and being like the better selling of the two systems month to month.
Like I'm gonna say, they need to give you a reason to buy their new console. If Microsoft is like, hey, we got this new Xbox coming out, but it doesn't matter, you can play everything on PC, I don't need to buy one.
Yeah.
At least not for a long time. I don't feel the need to buy one. But if they're like, hey, Horizon 2 is only on PS5, it's the only way to play it. Like, okay, well, I have to get a PS5 to play this. I think if they need that huge lead at the beginning too.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like that's
Like
when
they're playing nice right now, but like when we get closer to the consoles actually coming out, I think you're going to see a lot more
Right.
boasting from each company.
June 2020 we'll have some boasting going on.
The one thing I'm actually curious about is
July.
what the shelf life on the Pro and the X are. Because I actually think we might see those discontinued before we see the S and the current PlayStation 4.
That's an interesting idea, Blood. Right? Because you can sell an S for 150, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I wonder the same.
And you like if you look now, like with all of the Xbox Insider, like whenever they announce a special edition Xbox, it's always an S. They're
Yeah.
always going for the lower end consumer on those.
True. Weird. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just think like the Pro and the X to them are premium products, and
Yeah.
that's for the hardcore fan base.
And then we'll be buying the new
Correct.
new generation.
They're
Yeah.
counting on those same people to buy the new one because they most likely probably will.
I think it's fair. Yeah.
That's like very fair point. Yeah, I'm just trying to think of other things that like say like Microsoft. Your point, Brad, about hey, I can play this on my PC. You know, especially when they expand their service, and now you can play a bunch of their games eventually on PC as well, as long as you have an Xbox Live. Or what's it called now? Sorry, what they're changing
Pass?
game. Yeah. Wonder if they could push the angle about the difference between the PC at similar specs to what Xbox Scarlet will ultimately be, and be like, for what you're getting at this price is
Right.
cheaper than
Which
if
will
they-
be true.
if they can beat a pre-built
Yes.
price, which is like most casual consumers will buy for a PC, and say you can spend whatever, let's say $500 for an Xbox Scarlet, and you'll get games running at this, which these similar parts, if you built your own or pre-built PC, will cost this much, like minimum $700-800. Like you are saving this money, and you don't have to worry about all the issues with the PCs. If they can push that line and that messaging and nail it, I think they can. Like that's their sell. It's like
I don't know.
But
I
that's
don't
a hard-
see
that's a
PC
hard
gamers
sell.
Buying it.
well, it's not PC gamers. It's
I don't think
it's-
they're going to try to get the
It's
PC gamers.
preventing anyone
if I guess.
from doing what Brad said. Like, oh, I just need a PC to play Xbox games. I'm gonna go buy a PC now. Like, you know, because I need a PC. You're looking at a new PC, but then you're like, wait, oh, Xbox Scarlet's only this much, and like everyone's saying it's like better than a PC. It's like if they can get that messaging out there and convince like the average consumer that
I assume they're going to attack the PlayStation more than they're going to attack PCs.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
of
they know
course.
that's
yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
They're
They
not
just
gonna
say
attack
this
PC
is
at all.
better
because
than
they
PlayStation.
want their PC stuff to do well too.
Yeah.
So it's a little weird.
I want to.
Huh. Yeah.
So, July next year, will we be only talking about specs of the consoles? Well, actually, we're talking about marketing. We're talking about like, I think an actual nice forward-thinking feature of both consoles is shareability, social media. The idea of a share button turned out to work out wonderfully. You know, integrating streaming capabilities.
Yeah.
I think less so wonderful, but still, like, I wonder if at this point we're going to be talking about extra stuff. Like, oh, it's cool they're integrating this community aspect. It's cool they're integrating this. Or if it's really just going to be, as Damiani said, like, these are just two hardcore consoles just knocking each other out.
Yeah, I mean the thing is it has to be something like the video capture, basically, that the PlayStation 4 came out there with the share button. Like, this is a separate process running this so that it doesn't impact anything else. Because so many of these other things, like clubs and all that have come up, like you can just do that by upgrading the operating system. So it's going to be interesting to see, like, what kind of hardware level things are going to be there. And obviously they're talking about the load times, but neither one of them has that as an advantage. So yeah, I don't know. Other than the hard drive thing, I don't know what the exact
The sell point.
what
The buzzword?
other than this is just going to be the next best version of what you have now.
So while I think the actual like software launches will be way more exciting, I think both consoles are just gonna have really great games right at first day one. I kind of feel like there will be less drama at this point next year.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be like a more drama-free console launch, which is maybe too crazy to say, because console launches are always very, very dramatic. True. But I think it'll be less so than the last one. I think that both
More high
teams
road?
will have their stuff figured out.
Yeah.
Maybe more high road.
Our friends at PlayStation.
Will there be a new
Acceptable.
Switch model at this point next year?
At this point by June,
Like out?
No.
Out? No. But
Besides
I think
the Lite, no.
I
That's
think
too soon.
whenever Breath of the Wild sequel comes out, there'll be the new Switch.
So we're thinking holiday season 2020.
If they
At
do,
the
yeah.
I'm
earliest.
thinking between that and sometime early 2021.
Yeah, the
Sure.
earliest would be the end of next year.
Yeah, one thing we didn't cover.
That's way too soon. Yeah.
Verge reported that Nintendo did an FCC filing for swapping some parts in the
Sure.
standard Switch, which will have like slight improvements. It's not a Switch Pro, but there is going to be a new Switch this year, as well as the Switch Lite.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I would count that as like
Right.
anything significant.
Right.
Though.
Yeah,
And so
if they don't change the name,
Yeah.
like if it's
Yeah.
not called the Switch XL, it doesn't count.
No.
Yeah, it's just a standard kind of.
It's
At this point, every machine has done it.
and it's also partly a security overhaul to make it harder to hack the Switch.
Which is apparently very easy right now.
Yeah.
So we have the Switch right now in July of 2020, and we are so excited about the new Xbox, the new PlayStation. How do we feel about the Switch and its momentum? How good do we feel that it's going to compete?
Probably gonna feel pretty good for next year for
That's what I'm
2020.
talking about. Yeah, just a year from now.
Yeah, because by that point you'll have a release date. By E3 of next year they'll give you the release date for Breath of the Wild sequel
Yeah,
and
but-
a name, and we'll get a name. We'll
I've
get a
seen
name.
Horizon 2 though.
Oh yeah, but you get Breath of the Wild 2, and you get all that like stuff that everyone went nuts over. You get even more details. Probably we'll like know so much about it by then. We're probably gonna get Galaxy 2 or not Galaxy 2,
the next
Odyssey
Mario
2
game.
by that tomorrow. Or the next 3D Mario game will totally be there.
might
and
see
we're gonna be like,
Metroid
yeah.
more. I don't know if it'll come out, but you might
Yeah,
see
it
it.
might
more.
actually get
Seen
our
it.
first glimpse
Yeah.
at what Metroid Prime 4 is gonna look like.
It's like they need to do a screenshot just to survive.
We'll
Almost.
you'll have like hopefully by then Bayonetta 3 like let's see it like in action like playable. We just played it at E3. It's amazing. I expect like in terms of software, Nintendo's gonna have like a killer lineup for next year
Yeah.
for like the next 12 to 18 months that will buy them a good amount of like goodwill through the launch of those next gen systems.
Sure. It was funny because I was thinking about a lot about the launch of this current generation and what the Wii U had when the PS4 and Xbox One were launching. Do you remember their big game of that holiday season?
Oh, was it
20
Super Mario Brothers
You're
U
talking
or
about
Nintendo
2013?
Land?
3D World. 3D World.
Oh, was
Yeah,
that it?
Super Mario 3D World was
Yeah, they
2013.
were launching 3D World against the PS4 and the Xbox One.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But on 3DS, they also had Link Between,
Between
Worlds.
Worlds.
Ooh, baby.
So it's funny. It was like a kind of good season, but it was still just like you could see how they got stopped.
Yeah.
You could just
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it happening. You know, you just saw it happen.
Yeah, 3D World wasn't a big enough
Yeah.
hit to like impact that.
So next year, we're looking at this new Zelda game. We're looking at the fall. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
Zelda won't make fall, but some big Nintendo game will. Will the new consoles affect it? Are these really two completely different circles? The Switch audience and the next gen
I
audience?
think they largely will be still. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some effect, maybe some slowing, but I mean, we're going to have, Pokemon third version coming around.
Yeah.
Staff.
Staff, that's nice. Sword, shield, and staff. Maybe helmet.
Helmet. There you
Spear.
Bow and arrow.
But yeah, I think Nintendo's still, like, even out of just things that haven't gotten sequels yet. People have been talking about Pikmin forever.
Yeah.
There's a lot, Paper Mario. So yeah, in terms of software and overall momentum, it might slow down a little bit, but it's going to still be pretty strong next year. It's going to be 2021 where they're really going to have to start,
Switch 2.
yeah,
Yeah.
or the DX or whatever it is.
Yeah. I almost think it's like a new console time because I think the divide, it's here now, right? You're going to be able to play Doom Eternal on both Switch and your PS4,
Right.
Xbox One. The divide's here now. It's pretty ugly. I think it's just going to get...
Oh, it's gonna get real ugly.
Oh,
if you try to do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think you're gonna see Switch 2 or whatever Pro. If it's Switch 2, you mean like a whole new system?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not happening next year. That would really,
Definitely not next
really
year.
shock
We're talking
me.
like 2021.
Yeah, like that's something that they follow up with. Like, hey, we understand that like as much as third parties want to make this work, it's not going to work anymore once we hit that next generation. And then it's time to introduce that. But I mean, yeah, it depends on what games they have for next fall about like slowing down momentum. But if it's the sequel to Breath of the Wild, there's no stopping that train.
What's
Like,
going to sell better?
That game was such a runaway hit. Beyond expectations,
Yeah.
and like that's like the sequel of things gonna be like one of the most anticipated things by like everyone.
So you think the sequel will sell better than the original?
Yeah.
it will probably have better initial sales. Whether it's long,
Sure.
like how long it sells well, I don't know. But that initial burst a month is going to probably blow away
I can see that.
the first month of Breath of the Wild.
But it's like Majora's Mask did not outsell Ocarina of Time.
No, this
No.
is as long as you have Breath of the Wild like conveyed, like you can even call it Breath of the Wild. Don't even put Legend of Zelda title. It's called Breath of the Wild subtitle something. I
Honestly,
think that
yes.
that'd probably do be better off for them.
It would be.
Than anything, or just Zelda Breath of the Wild : something. And yeah, that thing is gonna ensure they have a huge holiday. That plus another Pokemon game as usual. But that thing's gonna be like one of the most anticipated things.
Sure.
Like, absolutely, that having that to go against those other systems. It's the best thing they could do.
Wow.
They
Okay.
could just go crazy and do another Mario Kart. If they're real
Yeah,
desperate.
they actually haven't done a Mario Kart
Yeah.
sequel yet.
Yeah, Mario Kart.
like, it's
9.
time.
Everyone's
Mario Kart.
here. Mario Kart.
Yeah.
9.
You know what? Did you all hear that? Oh, it sounds like it's podcast halftime.
The following are the official sponsors of Easy Allies for the month of July. Hogue Law Business Law Firm. Whether you're starting a business at level 1, stuck fighting the dreaded fundraising boss, or finally cashing out with a well-earned high score, you need a good business lawyer at your side, or at least that Good Business Lawyer's YouTube and podcast series, Virtual Legality. This week in Virtual Legality, Hogue discusses the implications of Facebook expressly allowing death threats in their terms and conditions, and just how that Section 230 liability protection works. Hint, it's not how you may have seen it described recently in the Washington Post. Check it all out at youtube.com/HOEG Law or on your favorite podcast service. El Thanis. Uniqlo, a Japanese fashion brand aiming to change the world through the power of clothing. With a focus on high quality and innovative textiles, Uniqlo is redefining everyday clothing by increasing the functionality of your wardrobe at an affordable price. They call it Lifewear Made for All. Visit uniqlo.com/EZA to check out their collections, including new graphic t-shirt collaborations with Blizzard, Marvel, Street Fighter, Monster Hunter, and many more. That's uniqlo.com/EZA. Our gifted sponsor is the Able Gamers Foundation, a nonprofit charity that aims to improve the overall quality of life for those with disabilities through the power of video games, creating opportunities that enable play in order to combat social isolation, foster inclusive communities, and improve the quality of life for people with disabilities. The link to donate is in the description. Car Keys Express. If you need a replacement car key or a remote, check out carkeysexpress.com/store. Use the coupon code EZA at checkout for free shipping and 10% off of your order. They are proud sponsors of Easy Allies. And our mega sponsor, ViewSonic. You probably know ViewSonic as the California-based company that's been one of the world's leading monitor providers for the past 30 years. Now, with ViewSonic Elite, they're bringing gamers an expansive line of professional gaming monitors. Whether you want to play like the pros on the esports stage or become immersed in the action set in front of you, ViewSonic Elite has you covered with a range of powerful specs and minimalist designs that are a tasteful addition to any modern PC setup. Learn more about ViewSonic Elite, new product releases, and upcoming giveaways on social media by following @ViewSonic Gaming or visiting viewsonic.com/elite. All of these links are available in the description. Thank you to our sponsors.
Thank you, sponsors.
And
oh,
we got sponsor slots open. Yeah.
come on in.
Yeah, come on in. Yeah, and I think one of the things too, like I want to, like a lot of people have been like really excited about having Uniqlo and ViewSonic in there. Both of those happened because somebody that watches the podcast was in a position, to where they could talk to marketing and like make that happen. So it's just like, it's one of those things like if you're on good terms with people where you work, you might be able to get them to sponsor the podcast.
Cool.
But yeah, there's 3 slots open for the main podcast right now and 2 for Frame Trap.
Nice. Get Brandon Jones to read your copy. I got a few more questions about the future.
Sure.
These are a little more quick. Man, this one's wild. Okay, so at this point next year, we will have played Death Stranding. We played it. Maybe it's old news at this point. We've played The Last of Us Part 2. We've played Cyberpunk 2077. We've played Final Fantasy VII Remake. We've played all those games.
But will we have played Ghost of Tsushima?
I don't think so. I don't think by this time next year. Has a new bar been set? Like, legitimately, have video games changed at this point or are we just like, oh, those are pretty cool, I'm ready for more games?
I have a hot take.
Give me that hot take, Ian.
Having seen Cyberpunk 2077 in real life,
Mm-hmm.
obviously it's going to be very well made and very dense, but it like hit me back down to reality where I was like, oh, this is just a game. Like before that I was like expecting it to be like literally anything your heart could imagine or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, it's just a really big good RPG. And like the only thing that gave me future shock like that is like the animations in Last of Us 2 look really, really good. You know? Like
Yeah.
video games, we got to make some other leap. We're just iterating. I don't know.
So you think at this point next year, we'll like, hey, those are pretty good, but I'm really excited for what next gen is going to bring.
I think that video gaming on the whole needs some kind of technological jump before any of us are like blown away. Like we need another HD. You remember like when HD happened, we were all like, oh,
Oh, we won't have that again.
it's not gonna happen
That'll
until
never
it's
happen.
like
Yeah.
right until it's like ray tracing is so realistic that it looks like crazy better because the lighting is so good, or like AI is so amazing that we can simulate like every animal and leaf on the tree and human being to such a degree that it just seems amazing. You know, like we need something because right now we're just kind of like things are just looking slightly better over time.
Another funny thing when I was looking at 2013 and the launch of the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, the predominant GOTY winners were The Last of Us and Grand Theft Auto 5. Games that had, at that point, nothing to do with next gen.
Right.
So we did have, I would say both of those games did raise a bar. You know what I mean? I did look at games differently after The Last of Us. You look at facial animations differently. You look at storytelling differently. And obviously Grand Theft Auto 5 changed open world design and online design. Nobody's really matched what they're doing, not even Red Dead. So I would say that at the end of that generation, new bars were set. I wonder if we realized it at the time. I wonder if June of that year we would have been like, the bar is set. These next-gen consoles aren't going to be as good as those two games we just played. And so I wonder how we're going to feel about those games we had just played, those huge, huge games.
I think we're gonna feel real good about them. To
You think
me,
so?
The end of a console generation is always where like the companies are really confident in their hardware, and you see some of the best games come out.
Yeah.
Like Last of Us was like the end of PS3.
Yeah.
The end. And I think all these games are gonna be great. Like Doom's coming out, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy XIV's gonna be rad. Cyberpunk's gonna be rad. I think they're all gonna be really good. They might not like blow you away of a new idea of something like you've never ever seen before, but I think they'll be some of the top quality of what's around currently.
Yeah. There was a weird point, maybe this is between like last gen and the gen before it, where it's just like, hey, you can't make cutscenes this bad anymore. You can't get away with this anymore. You know what I mean? If this is your budget, sure, if you're just like an indie game, go ahead, go nuts. If you're a big budget game, you can't be this bad. And I think like, you know, the bar does get pushed up. There is an imaginary bar. And I honestly do think it will be higher after we play those 4 games,
I think
those
so.
3 or 4 games.
The thing to me, like the thing that the bar that Cyberpunk and these could set is if your decisions actually do have like significantly rippling effects. You know what I mean? Because like all these other big RPGs, you know, there's still only 3 endings.
I can almost guarantee The Last of Us Part 2 will not give you multiple endings either.
Well, I meant mostly like Cyberpunk style of
Sure.
games. Like I don't expect Last of Us to. I mean, if Last of Us had 2 endings, that would be pretty amazing. But like, yeah, if Cyberpunk like literally all the little tiny things you do changes stuff, that would be pretty impressive.
How many endings did Witcher 3 have?
I don't know how many. There were at least 3 different.
I think choices mattered in that game
They
a
definitely-
lot.
they definitely did.
And like
Because
this is their next game.
there are things that you don't see for 10 or 20 hours later what happened. But yeah, so in Outer Worlds, you know, from what we saw at E3, seems to be very much in that same vein.
Outer Worlds, I think, is really smart about it because they're compact. And so I think they can go wild. They can go out there with their choices and your choices because it is a smaller game. And I think that design's genius. I would love to see more games follow that bar that they're setting up there. Yeah. I have another question. We kind of touched on this. What's up?
I googled how many endings does Witcher 3 have.
Yeah.
Guess.
I'd say 5.
Okay.
There's probably, if somebody's just listing number of endings, they might be like multiplying all the extra little threads that get put into the final cutscene.
Oh, like this happens, but she's wearing this instead.
Right.
Or like
So
the
Right.
person appears
It
inside.
does not. I'll clarify that this thing says it does not mean there are 40 different. Oh damn it. Cutscenes.
Okay.
But instead refers to number of variations. So yeah, there are 36.
Nice.
But like yeah, little baby differences.
We tapped on this one, and this is a really serious question. Is ray tracing still a phrase that we say all the time? At this point next year.
Ray tracing.
Oh, I mean, we're just going to be
Getting into
getting a
it.
glimpse of
Yeah.
it for consoles. So
It's
yeah.
not going away for like a few years.
HDR went away. We don't even talk about HDR.
Well,
they still do
Hubert
it.
talks about it all the time.
HDR
HDR takes the display to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray tracing,
The
you don't
problem
need
with
that.
HDR also has been like the no one has agreed upon like display methods like
Yeah.
HDMI, like HDMI 2.1 getting ratified, like the conventions for that, and then like okay, we gotta wait for that to happen. Now that we're already talking about new stuff. Whereas ray tracing is just you have the GPU that can do it, and the game enables it. You can play it because most ray tracing is done at a lower resolution. Like you're probably playing the game at 1080 at that point.
Right.
So like any monitor is gonna be able to like you can enjoy it on almost any monitor. So yeah, I think that is something that is more in control on like the developer's end. They have more control of it. As long as the system hardware can support it, you're good. Whereas
a
like
big if, man.
whereas HDR, it's both. You need it so the device that can display it as well as the game and the hardware have to support it. So that's a way bigger thing. I think ray tracing is going to be something they're already pushing it. It's for the consoles as well.
Yeah.
PC had just arrived and it's going to be apparently coming to consoles. So that's definitely going to be talked about 100% next year. If everyone says like, "Oh, ray tracing, that was a dumb thing," and sure,
I think it's
a year,
about to happen.
A year later, they'll
Yeah.
move on, but like not by next year. Next year will be like in the thick of it.
I
I
It'll
don't
be
you're
like-
think
right.
ray
it'll-
tracing is going anywhere because I remember freaking
Oh, it's
them
essential.
talking about ray tracing on perfect dark. I mean,
That's
like-
why
it's always been around, but like
That's
it
why
being
I think, yeah.
being a buzzword that like
It's
you're
still
hearing
a
in
buzzword,
marketing.
yes.
Yeah.
It exists in everything, like all like rendered movies and stuff that you watch. Like
Yeah.
ray tracing is involved with
audio
that.
ray tracing.
It's just the fact about having ray tracing in a game in real time. It's like, oh, this is at like this degree. It's like, oh, this is interesting. It'll definitely be a marketing buzz used in that fashion, but when it gets tired, will not be until later down the road potentially.
I wonder if we all start just calling it RTX.
Sure.
I
No.
don't think so. That's more of
Oh,
an
Because
NVIDIA.
that's Nvidia's
Yeah.
thing, and all the consoles are not. They're AMD,
They're all
so
mostly AMD. Oh, okay.
Will we still be talking 4K all the time?
things will still mention 4K, but it'll be so commonplace at that point that it'll be something. I think it'll be more normalized.
Sure.
It'll be
And we're
like
already,
how we talk
we're
about
already
frame
approaching
rates.
that point where
Yeah.
it's like, even though not everything supports it, it's just 4K, big deal.
At the beginning of this
8K,
generation,
baby.
you had to say 1080p. There were some games that were lower than 1080p. You had to say
Yeah.
it's 1080p, and they're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
nice."
4K 60, like that phrase together will
Yeah.
be a thing. Like that,
Yeah.
that will be a big thing. But
bet it will be.
just 4K will be like, oh, runs at a stable 4K. It's like in the frame rate.
And
60 frame. Okay, there we go.
I can do that.
The 1080 60 will still probably be around too.
Yeah.
Are
for
people
sure.
still mad about the Epic Game Store?
By next year,
Yeah.
I think it'll die off.
You think so?
I think it'll
Wait,
come
the
to. I think
anger or
it'll
the
come to a head
store?
one way or the other. Like the brunt of the anger will have
Yeah.
like bubbled up and exploded, and it's the aftermath. And it's like, okay, and people aren't as angry anymore, but like we're dealing with the fallout from it, or things smoothed over. And it's like, okay, we're cool now.
I gotta believe it's better feature wise at this point next year. The store
Oh,
itself.
yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like
Well, I also have to believe that Epic is just going to stop with the exclusive thing at some point.
I don't think so.
There's
What?
such a backlash.
I know, and they just keep pressing the gas harder.
But
dude.
I don't know how
Nothing
many of
stops
these
this
deals.
train.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, there's probably some inside baseball that some other people know. But like, part of me wonders if they just went on like like a spree and like did a bunch of these deals at once, and then didn't really see the backlash until like they were already set.
Oh, so it'd be too late now to back off?
Yeah.
These are rolling deals. These are deals they're still rolling in. They're still making them week by week.
But I also think that it'll be, if they get the market share that they want or whatever, they'll be less necessary for
Right.
them to put that kind of investment
because they're
in.
doing this now for market share.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. And then why dump that much money into it unless you're ready to sustain it? Go
We
ahead.
should definitely capture, record what Epic Game Store looks like now. So when you do this next year, you could show side by side like how much it's evolved. You really should do that. That's really good.
I'm not going to, but that is a really funny idea.
Because I bet it looks so much
It's pretty
better.
simple. I went to the Epic Game Store for the first time today. It is very simple.
Yeah.
There's like no reviews, which I actually appreciate. Why bother? But yeah, it's just like it's button-wise, UI-wise, it's just like very plain, very organized. It's funny. It obviously has a lot less to deal with than Steam, but like even like I don't know, like if you go to ToysRUs.com, it's messier than Epic Game Store.
ToysRUs.com still exists?
I don't know.
I know they're like looking at rebooting it, but yeah, I don't know about the website. They're
My
probably
word,
not.
it's probably gone.
No.
Which means maybe Epic.
Yeah, Epic bought it. Epic got that exclusivity.
Guess. That was really bizarre.
What happened to you?
Yeah.
I typed ToysRUs.com and it redirected automatically to Amazon, but then I did it again and then it went to Toys R Us. I must have typed it wrong the first time.
Oh, so
Sketch
that's all right.
Bezos,
Amazon.
dude.
Bezos
Sketch
Strats.
Bezos. Will we be more excited for the new Assassin's Creed or the new Call of Duty at this point next year?
For me, new Assassin's Creed probably.
Okay.
Just that year break.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've fallen off the Call of Duty train.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it sounds like
Yeah,
unanimously people will be more
unanimous.
excited for Assassin's Creed.
Although I've kind of fallen off the Assassin's Creed train now that they're gigantic.
Yeah. Blood.
Massive.
Me too, dude. Like I was so excited. I always wanted one that like takes place in Greece, ancient Greece, and then just like, cool, it's 80 hours. Like, no, man. No, dude.
You can play that new game from them, the Breath of the Wild inspired
Oh.
one. What was that called again? Gods
and Monsters?
Gods and Monsters.
You know I'm playing Gods and Monsters.
Hell yeah, I know you're
you
playing
know
it.
I'm playing that, yeah.
It's cell shaded. Kyle's in.
Yeah, Blood, I hear you, dude. Like we know that Assassin's Creed Ragnarok is just going to be enormous and it's just going to be another open world.
Yeah. Massive.
Gosh,
Massive
I wish
adventure.
these leaks didn't happen for Assassin's Creed all the time.
They can't help themselves.
I know. I just want one year to finally be the Assassin's Creed reveal. Is that it's
Where you're
like,
surprised?
It's one that you're surprised, and it's like Assassin's Creed Prince of Persia. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we're combining both, and like I was like, yeah, here we go. That would get me really excited for it.
I looked at the Ubisoft Plus lineup. That's the subscribe
Oh
to
yeah,
Ubisoft.
they just put that out today, right?
All the Prince of Persia games, dude.
There we go.
They didn't forget about him. He's still around.
All 4 of them?
Uh,
Or they have the really old
they
ones?
might have some of the old ones there too,
Okay.
but like the more modern ones were there.
There's
Funny
the
thing
original-
is that now
There's 5.
I feel like Assassin's Creed has departed enough to where they probably could put a Prince of Persia game out there, and it just feels like an entirely different game.
Yeah,
Because Assassin's Creed isn't that much about platforming and parkour anymore.
it is not, is it? Yeah.
That's why
It's
I want to
RPG
return
now.
back to that. Because we're talking about the original 3 Prince of Persia 3D
The Sands of
ones.
Time
Sands
trilogy?
of Time trilogy.
Okay.
Then the reboot, whatever that was,
Just
and
Prince of
then the
Persia.
movie version of Sands of Time, the game
Oh,
where there's
right.
where's the Wii
Jake
and
Gyllenhaal.
next gen. There actually were the Wii version and the Xbox 360 PS3 versions are actually different. They weren't the same.
Yes.
Right.
So technically we're 6.
What a
Forgotten
strange era.
fans.
So
Yeah.
strange. Godsmack in your game, dude.
Now Switch gets different versions. They're just worse. They're just bad. It's like, all right, we'll put it on Switch.
Yeah,
Here
where's
it
that Prince
is.
of Persia
Oh.
trilogy or whatever on Switch?
Wait, which one?
Why did they put Prince of Persia on Switch?
Yeah.
The trilogy.
Hey, man.
Sands of Time.
Yeah.
Why not, dude?
Do it.
Is that those 3 games? Does it just get worse and worse? Is the first one the best?
No, it's the second one's the worst.
Oh, okay.
Warrior
Yeah.
Within. Yeah. Stand alone. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That is a time.
Yeah.
No, that is
What
a
an
time.
era.
Yeah. Final question: how's Google Stadia doing?
Just quietly chugging along.
I think it might be quietly chugging
not
along.
at a quick pace,
Yeah.
but it's still going.
Yeah, I think I might be right.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be anything happening.
It's illegal.
Totally.
Yeah.
For some reason, it's been made illegal.
The cable companies have made it illegal.
Yeah,
You're like, no, no,
AT&T
no, no.
made it
Yeah.
illegal.
Yeah, I can see that happening.
Do you think there will already be a price change to their
Yes.
at that point?
Yes, I do. I think they'll go epic and you know like take a hit to get people interested.
We might know about whatever game they're actually making.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Google Studios. Yeah.
Yeah.
First party game.
Yes. Will we be able to play any Google Studio first party game at this point next year? Damiani for
I don't-
listeners
I
is
don't
shaking
know.
his head.
I mean, maybe if they do something small and light, but I don't see any major title.
Yeah. I hear you, man.
What if they finally announce the Netflix of gaming? and you just subscribe and get whatever you want.
That's Games Pass,
That's
right?
Game Pass. Yeah.
We're right. I mean, Google does that too. What if they start doing that too?
Yeah, it's weird that they don't. So they, I think they can't lock down the deals. Honestly, like
Yeah, you're
Microsoft
probably
spends a
right.
lot of money on that, and they get by with their first-party stuff, so they don't have to spend any money on that stuff. But yeah, I don't think Google could actually support it. I know they're a huge multi-billion-dollar corporation.
I forget
but,
what game was. Do you remember? Because I posted about it like a week or two ago. Like something actually came off of Game Pass, and they were like telling everyone, "Hey, play it while you can."
It's the first game that was being removed, right?
I don't know if it was the first, but it was the first time I noticed it.
Can't remember what. I do remember you messaging
Yeah.
us about that, and it was like the developer, like, "Hey, it's still on there right now. Check it out." Yeah, bummer. I don't remember. I want to talk about what we guessed last year.
Okay.
Sure.
So our panel was Brandon Jones, Michael Huber, and Michael Damiani. Damiani was the only one who is also here. My first question was, will there be a new Nintendo Switch version? Everyone said no.
Nah.
Nobody believed at that point that there would be a new Nintendo Switch version. And then most of the games that we thought that would come out over the course of these 12 months did not come out. We're like, oh, it's going to have Metroid Prime 4. It's got to have Bayonetta, obviously. Animal Crossing, yup. Star Fox Racing game, yup. And so, like, we kept listing all these. It's a really funny episode to listen to.
That is funny.
All these games that did not come out at all, that we're totally counting on. Like, oh,
felt-
Switch is going to be
We
Do you have the date
we
on
bought
that? If
into
anyone
those
does want to?
rumors, man.
this time last year. So this week of last year.
we bought heavily into those rumors, didn't we?
Yes. Yeah,
Jeez.
I bought all in on that Star Fox rumor. Yeah. So yeah, we were thinking that the Switch was going to have great momentum right now, that they would not need any other version. So it is interesting. I mean, like this again, Switch sold crazy well, just not to Nintendo's expectations, and that's why they're introducing this.
It's funny because I think like only a month or two after that.
I don't even know about
first-
that, Kyle. I think this thing would have been there regardless.
You're right. They've been planning this for a while.
Yeah.
They've been planning this for more than 2 years, probably. Yeah, maybe 2 years.
Oh, it was a month or two after that recording. I think it was when the first outlet broke the rumor of like cheaper Switch model coming.
Yeah. Because also.
It's like in September of last year, which is September of that year, 2018.
I asked the panel, will we be knee deep in next gen rumors at this point? Everybody said yes. Damiani, you said we'll have the code names. You're right. Like PS5, we don't have a code name. It's
Yeah,
PS5. Like, come on. Damiani said that Halo Infinite would be a launch title and also still on Xbox One. Nice,
Nailed it.
Damiani.
There we go.
You
Well,
said
saying
that
it
we'd
wrong,
see
though.
Death Stranding and Last of Us Part 2 for the PS5 launch. No, dude, way sooner. Damiani,
We don't know though.
I'm going to need your help with this. NVIDIA 1100 series will be beyond what we get in next gen. You said that we'd have the
Oh
1100
yeah, because they
series right now.
don't exist. Someone said there'd be because RTX was being announced.
Uh-huh.
Oh wait, this was last year
This
though.
is this time last year.
Okay, so if
You said
we
we'd have
didn't, we didn't
1100 by
know
now.
what the numbering was yet. If it was gonna be
Yeah.
1100 or 2080, so
Uh-huh.
it became the RTX stuff.
Yeah.
The RTX, the 2080 Ti is beyond what you're gonna get on the on next gen consoles.
so you
They
were
will
right about
not-
that.
Oh yeah, they're
Okay.
not gonna be, they're not gonna have a 2080 comparable to an RTX 2080 Ti in there. You're gonna you're gonna get like a. I mean, but it's close. It's not that far off.
Okay.
I would say it's like not that big of a huge of a gap as we thought. Probably. I mean, we still don't know the definitive details. We know it's gonna be AMD based, so it's gonna be a gap. But I don't think it's gonna be. I mean, I don't know. What we need to. I better back up. Let's wait to see what it is
Yeah.
confirmed. But nothing you're getting in the next gen consoles is going to be able to do what the 2080 RTX 2080 Ti can do.
Got you.
Unfortunately,
That's
that's a $1,200
Yep.
card. That's
Yeah.
more than both systems combined, probably.
I was really proud of you guys here. Huber said there might be multiple Xboxes at launch. And then Damiani didn't think that was practical and hard to market. So, like, Huber was right.
But-
they were thinking about it. And
But
actually,
they
and-
ultimately did not.
right. And so you were right, too. It was the next podcast right after that when the rumors about the two versions actually popped up.
That's funny.
That was funny. We had a long, very stupid conversation about next gen being modular, where you can, like, buy components to slot
yeah,
into
that
your
was-
console.
Oh, Steambox style.
We talked about that for way too long. Not happening. I asked which would sell better between Black Ops 4 and Red Dead Redemption 2.
It was Black Ops, right? Did it sell more?
It didn't. Red
didn't.
Dead 2 ended up selling more in the end.
Wow.
I'm
And then
shocked.
Huber was the only one who said Red Dead 2 would.
Huber
The rest of
believed.
us all believed in Call of Duty. But
Wow.
his reasoning was because of Fortnite. He said Red Dead 2 because of Fortnite.
Wow.
So this was funny. Jones had a fear. He had just a little worry that Red Dead 2 would be a flash in the pan. And I think it totally is. I mean, that game is...
We're not seeing it on the sales anymore? Or
What's up?
are we not seeing it on sales reports? Or
No, I think it dropped off. It doesn't have those GTA legs, right?
No.
And it definitely, we assumed at this point that online would be a bigger deal because for GTA 5 it was.
I think
Right.
when it's on PC, it'll
Yeah.
be a bigger deal. The online community is mostly on PC.
You're right. And well, I mean, like, while like NBD's like GTA 5 still ranks and we still see it, but like, you're right. Maybe the online community is pretty huge online for a PC. But yeah, I kind of thought that was funny because he was just worried that we'd like play it and get over it. And I think predominantly that did happen.
Sure.
For Red
I
Dead
mean, I
Redemption.
enjoyed it at the time.
Yep. My last question was, who will have the best Battle Royale mode? And will we still care? Huber said with great confidence, Red Dead Redemption 2
nah.
would have the best Battle Royale mode. Jones was pretty sure it'd have a map editor, but he wasn't sure if it'd have the best Battle Royale mode. They were unsure that Fortnite would be super popular still, but they were thinking it'd still be around. Damiani, you said that Battlefield 5's Battle Royale has a month of life. I think you're pretty on point for that. And then nobody was too confident it would work out for Battlefield. But yeah, we kind of remained confident that Battle Royale would still be around. And it kind of is.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Fortnite, I think, is more successful than I assumed it would be a year ago. I thought it would drop harder than it has.
Right.
Yep. And hey, it's still kicking.
Yeah. I mean, PUBG's still doing really well. We just don't hear about it in our circles as much.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I like, so my window into a lot of world is Twitch, you know what I mean? And it just doesn't rank highly on Twitch, but you're right. I think that, like, if you look at online players, it still compares well.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah,
then Apex, of course.
And then
which
Apex,
we
of
wouldn't
course.
have had any idea back then.
Would not have assumed that Respawn Entertainment would be launching a free-to-play battle royale game that takes place in the Titanfall universe.
Yeah.
I didn't
Because
have
we
that
thought
prediction.
they were doing the Star Wars game. So
Yeah.
we're like, oh, they're doing that.
Yeah. And then they're
Just
like,
kidding.
we got this
two.
thing. Here it is. Bloop. That was fun. I look forward to hearing how we predicted next year.
Gonna be flawless.
Flawless. Brad will be flawless.
We're gonna get
That's
them all.
the prediction.
We're gonna get them all.
right there.
It is now time for love and respect.
Love and respect.
Damiani. We got to do this one, man.
No.
We got to do this one.
Final Fantasy question?
Yeah.
Yeah. I knew-
Brad, you're playing too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, allies. As of this writing, Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers has become the highest rated game release of 2019 on OpenCritic. Bye-bye, Resident Evil 2.
Whoa.
So long, Sekiro. And nice try, Mario Maker 2. The unquestionable, de facto game of the year so far is a really good expansion to an MMO that came out in 2010. All joking aside, this has made me wonder about game reviewing and the difficulties of trying to be objective about subjective content. It's unlikely that anyone who reviewed Shadowbringers was an impartial judge of Final Fantasy XIV. But then again, it probably wouldn't be fair to release if they were. When you review a game, do you or should you consider your score on an objective level? Does saying Final Fantasy 14 is 93 mean it is objectively better than Sekiro or Resident Evil 2? And if not, is that conclusion unreasonable based on only the qualitative metric we can compare? I promise I'm not just salty about not picking it as my fantasy pick. Love and respect,
There
Dylan
we
G.
go. There we go.
Well, I'll say a quick thing on this.
Please, yeah, I love your reviews, perspectives.
Because if you combine both Metascores for Shadowbringers, there's still not as many reviews as there are for those other games.
Yeah, because
Like-
it's a harder game to review.
Yeah. It is.
Like you're just if you're not a major outlet or somebody that's very into that genre, you're not gonna bother.
Yeah.
And I think that's really kind of when it comes down to it, it's just a smaller pool of critics, so you don't get some guy that's gonna, rush through a game and dunk on it over the weekend.
Damiani, is Shadowbringers better than Resident Evil 2?
Yeah, I don't like the objective line in there about asking if a game. I don't like when people say
Subjectively.
When people say, can you objectively say a game is better than this because it got a higher score?
That's what we do the desire index for.
Yeah, desire index is what you get from us about that. But I really hate when people try and use that scores as an argument over which game is better,
Because that's impossible.
and throwing around the word objective behind that. It's no, it's still subjective. That never goes away. There is no objective. That's improper use of that word when it comes to reviews and comparing reviews and stuff like that. The only thing you can say is objectively that score is higher than that score. Doesn't mean that game is better than that game. That's, I think, where the confusion comes in. I will say this about, in this context here with Final Fantasy XIV, the one thing you need to be aware of when you're looking at any of the expansion reviews for this game or any MMO is those reviews are focused on the new content. It's not focusing on everything else you have to do to get to that content. And in particular, in Final Fantasy XIV's case, you'll see people, I've seen people come in, play in the comments for the review, or just in general ask, this review doesn't matter, mention leveling 1 to 50 and A Realm Reborn. Well, we already reviewed. At one point, we reviewed Realm Reborn.
Yeah,
you can go read reviews for those other expansions, but those are relevant for the time those came out. This is a game that's MMOs and games of service are always evolving.
Yeah.
They're being changed. Playing Final Fantasy XIV today, even starting from level 1, is not the same as it was. They said 2010. That's actually when 1.0 came out. But from A Realm Reborn's launch in fall of 2013 to today, the game is very different. It's not the same. So those reviews don't mean anything anymore about if you play in 2019. That won't. Maybe the story, analysis is still relevant, but a lot of the other stuff is a time capsule.
So
it's relevant to there.
When you're reviewing an expansion, do you talk about the gameplay?
Yeah, I talk about the current gameplay and how it's been changed and updated. But I don't give a judgment anymore on older content. I don't talk about what the experience is to get to the new content. I mean, I'll outline what you might need to do. I mean, it's basically it's a talking point that's been beaten to death at this point. That Final Fantasy XIV requires you to play through the old story content unless you pay a premium fee to skip over it. There's no two ways about that. That's a fact. It's out there. We don't have to keep mentioning it every time. It's it is what it is. So be it. I'm just judging the new content and what that's about. So yeah, you'll see people who come in and be like, this review doesn't tell me anything about a new player experiencing starting from level 1. I'm well, that's it. I don't play it from level 1. I can't speak to that anymore. I'm not going to go start a new character and play from scratch to that every time an expansion comes out.
Yeah.
You're not getting that perspective. I mean, there might be a reviewer who does that. That's not who I am.
How can an MMO expansion possibly be better than Sekiro, though?
Because with judging it within the category of other MMOs, that score, I think you look at that and see it's a great game content.
Yeah.
And compared against other MMO expansions, this is a phenomenal one.
Right. Otherwise,
but I would not compare this to Sekiro. I don't think that's my review does not try and do that. I don't think you can. I don't think anyone trying to make that comparison based on my review. I didn't review Sekiro, but they took Brad's review of Sekiro and my review of Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers and tried to use those as a comparison. I think you're doing it wrong. That's wrong.
Otherwise, all hockey games would have a 3. If we're
I don't know about that.
If
There's
we're
some
directly
hockey
comparing
games,
everything to RE2,
I mean, some hockey and the NBA games get really good scores as well from people who understand it.
Exactly
you need someone who understands the game to review it. I think fairly.
Yeah.
Unless he fully just goes, "Hi, I'm someone who's never played sports games. I'm going to review the latest Madden."
Yeah.
If you're
4. It's come on, man.
If you're transparent about that up front, so be it.
Sure.
But you're still going to get some flack of if you give it a super low score, it's well, did you not know about this stuff? But that aside, if you want us to try and compare games together or against each other, that's something different. We'd have to do we'd have to sit down and do a discussion. It's kind of I don't want to be mean. It's not I don't want to say it's a dumb discussion, but it's kind of almost like a fruitless discussion because they're not really comparable. I mean, there might be some elements that are, But what Sekiro is trying to do as a game and what Final Fantasy XIV Shadowbringers is trying to do, they're very different games.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's more apt to talk about Sekiro within, like, Soulsborne games and how it's evolved from, like, how different it was from any of the previous ones.
I think
like,
those comparisons are almost mandatory.
That's like comparing within a genre or like an evolution. Like I compare this game to other Final Fantasy XIV expansions. That's valid because it shows the evolution of how this game is improved. In this case, it did improve. But yeah, when you bring in outside games, you better be making a valid point. Like, I'm gonna, like, X game does this gameplay element, and introduces a gameplay element in this game. It does it really well. But in a previous game, not in this series, that did a similar mechanic, it did that much better. Like, it was easier to do and stuff. I think that's valid to start bringing in other games, but you shouldn't just be doing that haphazardly.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Ian?
Well, I was just going to say, you said it a couple of times that, like, you said what they're trying to do, and, like, any discussion of trying to put every game on the planet on the same playing field has to boil down at some point to how successful was this game at what they were trying to do. And, like, as reviewers, that involves so many assumptions that, like you said, it's, like, pointless, you know, because you don't know. You'd have to interview everyone.
Yeah, I hate it, Ian and panel, when, like we said, this person pointed out that this game got a higher score than, or its Metacritic's higher than that, so it equates to this is better. And I hate that when it happens. So, like, a review comment where it says, "So you're saying it's better than this because of the score comparison?" Like, those are, I hate those. If you're just trying to troll, so be it. Like, you're just that's
So be
your
it.
prerogative.
Good troll. Yeah.
But if you're being serious about it, it's like, I hope at some point you come to the realization that that's not a good perspective to have.
Yeah.
You really should rethink the way you compare things. But also, yeah, as Ian said, like, if what a game's out to, like, I love FTL. If I were to review that game, I'd probably give it like a 9.5. And people would look at that and be like, how does it get a 9.5 and, like, a masterpiece like this only gets a 9 or something? Like, what, like, and then there's no way FTL could be better than this game. Look how simple it is. Like, well, for what it's doing, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But like, if you compare it to like Grand Theft Auto 5, look at all the things it does and does well. Like, well, it wasn't trying to do that. You could say one game is more ambitious. You could say, I give Grand Theft Auto 5 more credit, like, for doing, like, so many different things so well and, like, on the scale it does. But, like, ultimately trying to say, like, one's better than the other, like, that is, like, the most subjective thing you could do. And it's almost like the most pointless thing. It is literally done for the sake of argument's sake.
Yeah.
Well, also, like, sorry, I was just going to say, like, even within Easy Allies, there are 9 of us. 6 of us do reviews, I guess. And, like, you know, even the variance between if Huber reviewed something or Jones reviewed something, like, they would give the same game 2 different scores a lot of the time, because that's why we put bylines on things. Like, that's Michael Huber's review of this game, you know? Like, it's under the Easy Allies banner, but, like, the scores I would give some of these games that we've given 9s, you know, would be way different, you know? It's just really interesting, even within our little microcosm, how variable that is.
Brad, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is it still pretty cool to see a Final Fantasy XIV expansion on top of Metacritic, OpenCritic?
Do I think it's cool?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, I think it's cool. It's a good game, man.
I like it. Despite this entire conversation, and we like.
Yeah.
I think it's really cool
to
that it
me,
reviewed
it's just,
so well. You know.
Yeah, like a successful game.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna like beat GOTYs, right? Because of what Damiano
Sure.
just said. The ambitious games are the ones that get GOTYs. The GTAs get GOTYs, right? And so like, I think that sure, it's really cool to see it up here. It's really cool to see it.
Like, to me,
received
I'm
so
just
well.
excited to see a good game.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very valid and stuff. Like, I definitely agree with that. Crap, there's something I was gonna say as well. Now I just, like, it slipped my mind.
There was one thing I wanted to add.
Oh yeah, sure.
In your Fantasy Critic League, you can uncheck expansions. We're going to be doing the same thing with our own. Because Ian's got Iceborne coming up. It's not fair. It's like an easy 9.5.
Well, and also someone was like, how come nobody has Link's Awakening? And I realized that 3 different times I've tried, but it's not allowed in
It's
our
a different kind of
rules.
remake.
Yeah.
We're really strict about all that. I don't know why we allowed expansions. That was a weird choice.
I don't know.
That was on us.
I remember what I was gonna say actually.
Okay. And
So
go
I
ahead.
mean, yeah, like the whole thing about Ian's point about like bylines and stuff. Obviously, like, it's good to follow a reviewer and know their perspective. I think that's where some reviewers out there who do use a more first-person voice, you can get a little bit more about that, like in the review itself, without having to do a little bit more research about who is this person, what do they do. So obviously, you know, matching that up to understand like, oh, this is a person who plays a lot of Final Fantasy XIV, AK is a veteran who's like, they're judging it against playing it a lot. Like it has a lot to like surpass to be labeled good.
I think
versus,
that would be apparent in your writing though. They don't need to Google Michael Damiani though.
No, I get that. So like I understand like there's only so much wiggle room you can do in terms of like through footage and through your opinion you could show that like you're showing choice points. You're making an argument and you're trying to support that score with arguments or just support like your final thesis, like your final statement at the end to back up your thesis, which is that the final paragraph says like this is what it ultimately does and everything I've said has led up to this conclusion here. So like that's still like a craft, that type of review. But I'm starting to see more and more of the angle that I see just people and consumers in general, like a lot of people who watch Twitch streams, they almost would rather, I see people who would rather just watch playthroughs of people because they get to see all the different gameplay elements without being selected. Like
that's me a lot,
we select what we want to show. Whereas to a consumer, they might want to see, you showed me like a significant part of the game unedited.
Yeah.
And despite your reactions and stuff, you didn't like it. Like you're having a miserable time. But what I was seeing, I love that. Like I don't think you can see that as much within one of our produced reviews. Sometimes you can, but it's not a guarantee that like what we show and what we, like is going to be enough to inform you. Oh, despite them saying this was great, that looks terrible and stuff like. Or it's probably more the opposite. Despite them saying it was a bad game, that looked excellent. It's like, well, they showed really bad parts of the game to support their thing. Whereas if I watched a Twitch stream or YouTube like Let's Play or whatever, I saw this huge segment of the game and that was like amazing. That was like everything I wanted it to be. I don't know. Like it's interesting to see how people process and consume what they consider to be like review or, you know, editorialized segments or productions of games to make their decisions about whether they feel a game is good or not.
Yeah.
It's interesting how it's evolved and changed.
It's definitely
1
year from now or like at the end of next gen, you know what I mean? I think, you know, live reviewers will be a thing. Let's play a game. Let's play a fun game. This is from G the Finger. From the people who brought you Taylor Swift song or Halo ship.
Oh gosh, no.
Comes the next round of Either Or. The game where you must differentiate video game trivia from seemingly irrelevant topics. Below are 12 phrases. And for each one, I want you to tell me if it's a term utilized by the fighting game community or the name of a horse who won the Kentucky Derby.
Okay.
Adoration and admiration. Here we go. Bubbling over.
Horse.
That's a horse.
Yeah.
One in 1926.
Wow.
Happy birthday.
That's a
Fighting
fighting game.
Yeah.
That's Marvel.
What is that?
When
That's
you
when you
hit multiple characters at a time,
Yeah,
right?
you get multiple
Yeah.
characters and kill them, yeah.
In any like tag team
birthday.
game,
Yeah,
basically. You have
catch
two.
and assist, yeah.
Cross-handed.
Oh, that's fighting game community.
It is. What is that?
That's like Seth Killian. It's when he plays like this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Basically using his right hand for the stick and the left
Interesting.
hand
When
for
the stick's
buttons.
still like
Yeah.
or right, yeah.
Yep. And I don't think he's left-handed. I think it's just easier for him to control the stick
Sure, yeah.
with his right hand. Time killer.
Horse?
Horse.
I feel like I'm not sure. I would go if you see like a character that's meant to like run out the time, but no.
It's that. Yep. Intentionally running down the clock with a life wire
Oh, I
advantage.
didn't know it was
Okay, I thought it was a
Time killer.
keep away
Yeah.
character was with the name, but no, yeah.
Spend a buck.
Horse.
Horse.
That's a horse.
That's like,
bug.
that's like the biggest horse
Dawn's
name
horse.
I've heard one.
1985 is when Spend a Buck won.
Spend a buck.
Middle ground.
Both.
Fighting game?
Fighting game.
It's close. That's a Derby winner, 1950.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say like I don't like footsies, but I was like,
Yeah,
do they call it
footsies.
middle
and like
ground?
mid-game. There's like mid-game.
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna say
okay,
like that's
say
not
mid-game.
middle
Yeah,
yeah.
court. I was like, no one uses the term court.
So middle ground, that was
ground,
honestly
sorry.
that was a nasty one. Very, very tricky.
Yeah, that threw me.
Chant. CHANT.
Horse?
That's a horse. A 1894 chant one.
I was gonna say it's also
1894.
1894. Good stuff, chant.
Wow.
wow.
Shenanigans.
Wait.
Horse?
Both.
I mean, they
Fighting
could have said
game.
shenanigans in a fighting game.
I feel like
that's
just
just
like a term for anything. Yeah.
Shenanigans the horse never won. That's a fighting game community thing. A sudden loss from a player on the verge of winning. So it looks like they threw.
That just sounds like a comeback
you
or
call
something.
It, well, it's when they lose. It is a comeback. It's the other side of a comeback, basically. And you say shenanigans.
And
like
then you
maybe
demand
he
your
threw
salty
it,
run
maybe,
back.
Yeah.
Huh.
Winning colors.
Ooh, that's a horse.
Horse.
That's a horse. 1988. Alcatraz.
Oh,
Horse?
God.
It's a fighting game thing.
What? Yeah, what is
Alcatraz?
that? I
A
haven't heard that
scenario
one.
where a fighter is stuck blocking in a corner. They call that Alcatraz.
Wow.
Oh, I've never heard
okay.
that.
Yeah, it's kind of
Can't break out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Can't get out. Whirl away.
Wait, what?
Whirl away. WHIRL.
gotta be a horse.
I want to know if a lot of these fighting game things are really common or just some commenter said at one time.
I think Alcatraz is not common, to be honest with you. But hey,
Or it might be.
It's like your boy's stuck in Alcatraz right now.
yeah. Yipe said it once. Whirl away. What are we doing with that one?
I don't know that
Horse?
one.
Horse.
Sorry.
That's a horse.
Yeah.
1941. Whirl away takes the lead. Finally, last one. Blessed legs.
That's a horse. Come
Horse?
I hope it's
Is
both.
that
Is that like a
fighting game?
Chun-Li
Is that like
character?
Chun-Li's
Yeah.
reference?
It's a fighting game. Getting hit low when guarding high is called
Oh.
blessed legs.
on. Okay.
I feel like these are just like one-off comments a lot of times.
Oh yeah. Well, hey, it was not a horse who won the Kentucky Derby, certainly,
Yeah, that we know of.
that we know of.
Next year.
Yeah.
Somebody will name it now.
You know what? We can squeeze one more in.
Okay.
Can we squeeze?
Squeeze it.
Okay. Okay. This one we should have covered anyway, so this is kind of interesting. From David Jones, love and respect. Is this a big deal? Konami recently announced the game lineup for its TurboGrafx-16 Mini, and Snatcher, a game most famous for being designed by Hideo Kojima, is included. Do you think some of the bad blood is starting to go away? Or are they begrudgingly putting it on there to increase sales? Very funny question, David Jones.
I don't know if they're
I
begrudgingly
don't.
putting it on.
That's a weird way of framing
Yeah.
it.
No, they
I
just
mean,
have the rights. And
Yeah.
they're
It's
putting
their
it on the
game. They're
thing.
gonna put it
Like,
on there.
Yeah.
Do you think Konami has bad blood with Hideo Kojima?
Not enough to not sell a version of a game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so they did remove his name from the box. To me, that was bad blood.
That's
that
bad
was
blood,
disrespect.
yeah.
That was
Yeah.
pure disrespect at that point.
Yeah.
Will his name be featured
In the credits of the game or something?
like even in the promotional materials for this? People would want to know, hey, Snatcher is Hideo Kojima's game.
I don't
Nah,
think they will.
they probably won't do that.
Yeah.
This comes out next year, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty far off.
Yeah, I think it's like spring of 2020. How will we feel about the TurboGrafx-16 Mini a year from now? It's really cool. It's getting included.
This
The-
game looks crazy.
The Japanese lineup
you're
of
looking at
games is
Snatcher?
better than
Yeah.
the English for sure.
That's what I
Yeah.
heard.
There's so many skeletons and freaky gore in this.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a Blade Runner thing.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. A lot of skeletons, though.
People with half melted faces and blown out stomachs and stuff.
Cool.
Neat.
Yeah, I think they won, maybe. I think Konami thinks they won. I wouldn't call it bad blood. I think they just know, frankly, this will sell twice as many units if they include that game in it, you know? Maybe not twice, that's exaggerated. But begrudgingly, I don't know. I don't know if they're still mad. I wonder. And I want to know what the panel thinks.
Don't think they're still mad.
Okay. You don't think they're mad that Death Stranding's coming out this year?
I think there's more.
I think
to the
they're laughing
story.
their way to making money with their other stuff. I don't think they care that much about gaming outside their PES and whatever anymore.
But this product exists. That's the weird thing. Konami, they don't care about games, and then they announce that weird Contra game. You know what I mean?
Right.
Two collections
Yeah,
recently.
Yeah, but it's
and the
that-
collections,
three-
exactly.
three.
That's a really good example
yeah,
too.
but
Two.
that's banking on their legacy. Most stuff we're seeing is them banking on their legacy.
But they
Yeah,
could've
none
done
of
it.
this is that high budget.
They could've done that last
I don't
gen
see,
and
yeah, I
they
don't
went,
see
you know?
any. Yeah, what Blood said, they're not doing any really ambitious projects that are a brand new AAA budget. think we're gonna
They
see
did.
Yeah.
Metal
Yeah.
Gear.
that. They know.
Metal Gear Survive is probably their
They
last.
know-
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Metal Gear Survive even was using the engine. You
Yeah,
know,
it was
and
reusing
like
a lot.
Fox engine,
everything
yeah.
they've done since they said we're done with video games has been low
Yeah.
effort. Low effort.
That's what's so weird to me about this product. I mean, maybe they're chasing NES Classic. Obviously, they're chasing NES
Yeah.
Classic.
Everyone is.
But it seems like a high effort product to me.
Yeah, I definitely feel like there's more effort put into this than on the PlayStation Classic.
Yes.
I
Yes.
mean,
but-
they probably saw what happened
Yeah, and
with
they're like,
that,
oh.
and also the previous Sega ones that before the one that's coming out. That
Mm-hmm.
if you don't go all in on this, the target audience for this is just not going to buy it.
Yeah. And so like the marketing thing for this has been off the wall. Like Blood, would you say that they had extra room in the budget?
Oh yeah, they don't have to budget that Metal Gear
Yeah.
advertising.
So they just burn it all on the TurboGrafx-16. Because it is. It's like a really nice graphics package, like really nice title art for each of those games.
Well, and you saw too that each region is getting their own unit. Like
yes.
it's designed
its
around
own shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really great.
Yeah. Which one would you want?
Oh, I would get the US one. I mean, that's what I'm familiar with.
Okay. Wait, you had one of these?
I didn't, but I had a friend that did.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
To me, like first experience was like seeing it at a game store, like a used game store.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Same.
I had no awareness of it when it was out. You know what I mean? I
Right.
read about Hideo Kojima when they were doing like interviews about Metal Gear Solid. And I'm like,
Oh, well, yeah, I don't know anything about
like that.
I don't know that
Shots.
much about Snatcher. I'm just talking
Yeah,
about
I didn't know about any of
TurboGrafx.
that stuff
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to that product.
I remember like Bonk was one of those things, kind of like Sonic, where you just like looked at like, oh,
Yeah.
that game looks awesome. I can't
Bonk.
wait to play it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's a weird looking thing.
It is, and the controller looks weird too. Yeah. It's
Well, the
super-
system itself originally was weird because it had a little tiny cards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kind of ugly.
kind of ugly.
And then they had the CD add-on.
Wait, so what's it called in Europe? It's PC Engine in Japan, correct?
Yeah.
TurboGrafx-16 in the US. What's the European version called?
It might still be PC Engine, but I don't know.
Okay. In the meantime,
Off
it's
the top
time
of
for
my head.
bets. Next week's bet is about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which will release Friday, July 19th,
Oh no.
with subtitles on. How long will we have to wait to see an exclamation point from the beginning of the first cutscene?
Okay.
Daniel Bloodworth,
14 seconds.
Michael Damiani.
6D section.
6D?
6D. 60.
Okay.
25 seconds.
Whoa, dudes. Whoa.
Wow.
4 seconds.
Whoa.
Wow.
Are you banking on the Tony?
Ian?
0.
0 seconds.
Whoa.
Oh, I like that bet.
That's all it is.
We're gonna lock
Exclamation
those
mark.
Blood, you can start betting for the pigs when we like start losing.
When you're desperate.
Yeah, when we're desperate. Because I won this one obviously, so like we're still gonna be up.
Wow.
What is happening with this bet though?
Yeah, we're just parlaying it. So last week's bet was about Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 as well, because I thought that released earlier
Oh, you
today.
goofed. You
I thought it
goofed.
released today. Yes, I had the date right,
That's
but not
minus
the
a
day of the
point.
week. We bet on how many women will be on the back of the box. We have not seen the back of the box yet, so we will just award 2 points next week. So current score, just for everybody keeping track: Scrappy Little Pigs 16, Gorgeous Gorillas 12. And now's the part of the podcast where we have the opportunity to tell you about patreon.com/easyallies, which is the URL you would want to go to if you want to support the Easy Allies, if you just want to see more of what we do, because it's not just this podcast. It is other podcasts and live streams and reviews. As you heard, there's a lot of care put into
Exclusive
reviews. Exclusive shows. If you give $5 or more a month, you get early access to shows, including this one. You'll see it and hear it on Wednesdays as opposed to Fridays. Are we
Yes.
good?
Well, I did want to just kind of put it out there a little bit. Like, we're starting to have internal conversations and stuff about like what's next for the Patreon, because we're kind of in this transitional period, I think, because I
Okay.
think like the past 3 years until we got into this space has really just been about like, oh, the comeback, like the comeback story. And
Yes.
and I think there's a lot of people that were like really pushing for that. And I think what we've seen is now that like it's happened, there's just sort of this sense where like people don't like have to like, oh, we don't have to push so much, and like they're relaxing, they're coming down from higher tiers, and so there's almost kind of this hard to comprehend thing of we're getting more people and we're getting less dollars, but it's because people are coming in and like lowering pledges because we've done it, we've made it, everyone's back together.
Yeah. Mission accomplished. We're good.
But
We're good to pack up and go home.
but that's the thing. Like we're still here. We're still going. And everybody watching this podcast, owes it to those people that like really, put in the effort and went above and beyond in many cases. People giving $25 a month for 3 years or $60 a month or whatever. And so I would just, encourage you to think about that. Like people are definitely doing it so that if you can't afford it, you can watch it. But if it's something that's valuable to you, and if any of the stuff that we make is valuable to you, then consider coming in at that $1 or $5 level and making it something that can continue to be sustainable over a long term.
Yeah. But as you open with Blood, I do think on our end, it's kind of like, okay, we're here, now what? You know what I mean? We did achieve a goal, and it's like we need to determine what our next goal is and everything like that. And so, yeah. We got a little bit of work to do on our end, I think, of like, what are we changing? What are we making this into? What are we, like, we have a studio right now. I can pound on this desk that's hard.
Right.
Do you know how weird that is? Like, this is a desk we paid for. It's weird. Okay, so we need to do a draft for rights and responsibilities. Actually, you know what? Just shout out if you want it. Who wants Twitter handle?
Sure.
Okay, Blood's got Twitter handle. Who wants final word?
Me.
Brad's got final word. Who wants to promote an Easy Allies video?
You.
No, I don't get one.
Ian.
Ian wants to promote, and then Damiani gets to sign off with his trademark sign off. Okay, Bloodworth, what's your Twitter handle?
At DBloodworth2.
Ian, what do you want to promote?
I don't know.
We got a thing coming up.
Oh yeah, we got a thing coming up. A big event.
Sounds like Blood wanted to promote a video.
I didn't think about it until after I pulled the other thing.
Oh, jeez. It's falling apart.
Ian, what's about to happen later this month?
Easy living.
Easy Living is a 50-hour live stream where the Easy Allies, except for the one who just had a baby, will all live in a house together, a beach house, in fact. We're not allowed to leave. We just lock ourselves in, and we just play video games for 50 dang hours.
Oh, my God.
We do get sleep,
asterisk.
you know.
We actually
we'll
do leave.
shit.
Big asterisk mark by
Yeah.
do not leave.
Yeah.
We go out for food and stuff.
Yeah, you know, but like, it's
Do not leave
like,
the radius.
Yes,
Right,
it's far away from home. It's not just like,
Far from home.
I'm just. You look far from home. We will announce the games lineup. I think we're going to announce that next week. Yeah, next Tuesday we'll make that announcement. It's pretty exciting. I'm very, very excited about some of the games that are on this list. And so, Ian, great promotion. Look
We got
forward
shirts.
Oh yeah, hey,
We did. They're on the shop.
There's some ridiculous tie-dye ones.
Yeah,
I got a tie-dye
I
one
ordered
too.
one,
It looks
yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Did you get it already?
No, it hasn't arrived yet.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's not too late to get one before Easy Living begins. So, cool.
Good job, Kyle.
Brad, what's your final word?
Every prediction I made at least, will come true next year. 0 errors.
It's final word. And Damiani, your trademark sign-off, please.
May the way of the hero lead to the Triforce.
What I'm not a humongous fan of is Final Fantasy VII. What I am a huge fan of is marketing campaigns.
Sexy.